So this is part 2 of our series talking about how we got legal and how we converted the bus from a commercial vehicle into a private recreational vehicle. If you missed the first video, you can check it out right here. Some useful information in there. I'm going to list over here, these are the things that we needed to successfully convert the title of the bus from a commercial vehicle to a private vehicle. So in this part of the video, we'll actually discuss how we handled each item that we needed and what of those 6 items, which 4 we chose to move forward with. What we decided to do was to do a light conversion. In order to complete a light conversion, we decided to only satisfy 4, which is the minimum, out of 6 requirements. Of those requirements, we decided to go for the simplest 4 that we could, so that we could get the title as soon as possible and then continue the build on our own time. So of those 4, we decided to move forward with a sink and potable water system. Tiffany found a hand pump faucet. We were given a sink from a friend of mine. Then we purchased 2 jugs to serve for fresh water and the gray water. So it was a very simple self-contained system, but it satisfied that requirement. We'd already purchased a Nature's Head composting toilet. All we had to do was install it, so that was easy. For cooking, we decided to go with an alcohol stove. We sort of initially decided on that because it was going to be really easy to install. It's very portable, but honestly, we've liked it so much, we think it's so cool that I think we're going to stick with it. So alcohol stove satisfied the cooking prep. And then we just decided to go ahead and purchase a refrigerator. But instead of hooking it up with power and everything, we decided to buy the fridge, install it, but have it as an icebox, not necessarily a full working refrigerator, because you could have a refrigerator or an icebox. So we decided we'll call it an icebox in the meantime, and that satisfied that legal requirement. And just like that, 4 out of the 6 requirements to get the title were satisfied. We made the bus look nice, we installed small dinette, we had a bed, and had satisfied all of the other requirements. So we were essentially at that point ready to start looking for insurance. Since we had done the conversion up to that point, we figured that would be enough for an insurance agent to look and see, oh yes, the conversion has been done up to a satisfactory point, we can issue insurance. Then that will allow us to get another temp tag to drive around and complete the other pieces of paperwork that we needed to get the tag. So I started looking for insurance and found a local State Farm branch that was able to work with us. The lady I talked to wasn't really familiar with the process, but she helped us out. She did some research for us. They did require before and after photos of the bus, but we were able to provide those pretty easily. The images that we showed them were enough for them to write us an actual RV policy, and we were ready to go. We had insurance now. At that point, we could go to the title office, showed that we actually had an actual proof of insurance, whereas before, to get our first temp tag, we used the temporary commercial insurance policy that I had gotten to get the bus back home. Now we could actually go and show the title office that we have actual RV insurance, get another temporary tag, and then we could do the rest of the paperwork needed in order to get the title. The insurance policy they wrote for us was the legal minimum, but it was also under $200 a year, and it still technically made us legal, so that was fine with us. The issue with temp tags is after the first temporary tag, which was 30 days, every subsequent temporary tag after that got shorter and shorter, so even though we had insurance and had completed most of the work in order to get the title, we had to move fast and get the rest of the paperwork taken care of in a relatively quick manner, or else we continue to go and get temporary tags over and over again, which we actually did do. The certified weight slip was easy enough. Basically all the weight slip does is show the office that the amount of weight that the bus currently has is not over the recommended amount for the bus to carry. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's essentially what it boils down to. The title office gave us some places that we could go to get that weight slip. No problems, drove it over there, weighed it, got the certification, done. Very easy. Next, we had to get the emissions tested. I had no idea how that was going to go. It's an old engine. It's a mechanical engine. I wasn't sure what we could do if it failed emissions, but fortunately it passed with flying colors. A few interesting things happened with the emissions test. We failed the first time because the emissions facility thought this engine had a check engine light, and when they ran the lights in the dash, nothing happened. No check engine light came up, so they said we had to get that fixed. The actual emissions portion, we passed with flying colors, so that was the good news. We could probably fix the light, no problem. We went to have the light fixed, and turns out this engine actually doesn't even have a check engine light because it's mechanical. So we just went back to the emissions facility, tested it again, and we passed. Emissions check, done. The emissions facility also were able to provide the VIN verification for us, so we got to kill two birds with one stone. So the statement of fact is basically a legal document stating that you've done a certain thing or a certain thing is true. In this case, converting a commercial school bus into a motorhome. We basically had to write down the conversions that we had performed at that time and submitted it along with all of the other pieces that I had mentioned previously. Now that we had a weight slip, we had passed emissions, we had completed the conversion requirements, and we had insurance, and we completed the statement of fact, we were ready to get a tag. We were still pretty nervous, but we couldn't see anything else that we needed, so we went to the title office, handed the clerk all of our paperwork. After a while, she went back to talk to a manager or something, we weren't sure, and we thought, guaranteed we had missed something. There was something wrong. A few minutes later, she came back and said we were good to go. Processed paperwork, we paid for a license plate, and we were done. We were incredibly happy to have that whole ordeal behind us because it was really frustrating for a while. The whole process was time-consuming, but I think we kind of made it more difficult on ourselves than we really had to. After getting insurance, which was what I considered the biggest hurdle, everything sort of fell into place after that. Getting to install the actual license plate on this bus was really satisfying. And we did it in a way that we had a paper trail and we could defend. So we were happy with that too. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the content. Hopefully you find it useful in some way. If you liked it, please subscribe. It really helps us out. We'll see you next video.